Did everything you learned about history turn out to be a lie?
Today, we're exposing 10 historical facts that are actually persistent myths. Let's start with Napoleon Bonaparte. The popular image of him as a tiny man is false.
He was around 5 feet 6 inches tall, pretty average for a Frenchman in the 1800s.
The myth came from British propaganda, exaggerating his stature to mock him.
Next, anonymous Christopher Columbus. He didn't discover America.
Millions of indigenous people already lived there, with rich cultures and complex societies.
He merely stumbled upon lands already inhabited for thousands of years.
The first Thanksgiving, as a harmonious feast between Pilgrims and Native Americans,
it was more a diplomatic meeting, and relations quickly deteriorated afterward.
the romanticized version ignores centuries of conflict and betrayal that followed.
Did Marie Antoinette really declare, "Let them eat cake" during a famine?
This quote likely predates her, appearing in Rousseau's Confessions years earlier.
It was used as propaganda to demonize the monarchy, not an actual quote. Thomas Edison did not invent the light bulb. That's a common misconception. And many inventors contributed, like Humphrey Davy and Joseph Swan, long before Edison.
Edison improved its durability and made it commercially viable, but he didn't create the concept.
The Salem witches were not burned at the stake. This is a persistent, grim error.
They were actually hanged. Burning was reserved for crimes like treason, not witchcraft, in colonial Massachusetts.
It's a crucial distinction, highlighting the legal practices of the time. Vikings did not wear horned helmets.
Archaeological evidence shows they wore practical, unadorned helmets for battle.
The horned helmet idea originated with 19th century romantic opera costumes. The iconic bird beak plague doctor mask? It's not medieval.
That specific design was introduced in the 17th century by Charles Delorme, not the medieval period.
While doctors did try to protect themselves, the beak mask came much later than popular belief.
Isaac Newton and the falling apple. A delightful story, but probably not entirely true.
He observed an apple fall, which inspired his theories, but it wasn't a direct head bonk revelation.
It's a simplified anecdote, likely embellished to make complex science more accessible. Finally, ancient Roman toilets. Forget privacy and individual flush systems.
They were often communal, with running water beneath, but no privacy partitions or flushing mechanisms.
From ancient plumbing to medieval warriors, history is full of surprises. Ready for another myth?
Our next historical fact involves fierce warriors from the north. Did Viking helmets really have horns?
Absolutely not. This iconic image is a complete modern invention, not historical fact.
The horned helmet myth actually originated with a 19th century opera costume designer.
Behold, the twilight of the gods is upon us.
Actual Viking helmets were much more practical. They were simple, functional, and horn-free.
Their helmets were designed for protection in battle, not for theatrical flair. Horns would be a liability.
So, next time you see a horned Viking helmet, remember it's a costume, not history.
From battlefields to palaces, let's debunk another famous quote, often misattributed.
Did Marie Antoinette really say, "Let them eat cake," when told the peasants had no bread?
Another persistent myth. There's no historical evidence Marie Antoinette ever uttered those words.
The phrase, or a variation of it, actually appeared in earlier writings, decades before the French Revolution.
The quote served as propaganda, highlighting the perceived indifference of the monarchy to the suffering of its people.
While Marie Antoinette was certainly extravagant, historians suggest she was more naive than malicious.
She was isolated in court life, likely unaware of the full extent of the common people's plight.
Let them eat cake remains a powerful, but likely fabricated, symbol of royal detachment.
Next, let's challenge a foundational story taught in schools worldwide. Who truly discovered America?
The common narrative states Christopher Columbus discovered America in 1492. But is that entirely true?
Not quite. Indigenous peoples had inhabited the Americas for thousands of years before Columbus's arrival.
Furthermore, Norse explorers, led by Leif Erikson, reached North America centuries earlier, around 1000 AD.
Archaeological evidence at Lanceau Meadows confirms their temporary settlement in what is now Canada.
Columbus's voyages were significant, establishing lasting European contact and initiating the Columbian Exchange.
However, to say he discovered a continent already thriving with diverse cultures is misleading.
It's more accurate to say Columbus initiated significant European colonization and transatlantic interaction.
Now, let's journey to colonial America and clarify a chilling misconception about the Salem witch trials.
Many believe the accused witches in Salem were burned at the stake. Is this the horrifying truth?
Absolutely not. While horrific, no one was burned at the stake during the Salem witch trials.
The common methods of execution were hanging, and one man, Giles Corey, was pressed to death.
Burning for witchcraft was a European practice, but not legally practiced in colonial British America.
Trials were a dark chapter, but the method of execution was legally prescribed, hanging, not burning.
Understanding the actual events helps us grasp the true grim reality of that time.
Finally, let's address a classic tale about a scientific breakthrough. Did an apple really hit Isaac Newton on the head?
The charming story of the apple directly hitting Newton's head and inspiring gravity is mostly embellished.
He observed an apple fall, which sparked his thoughts on gravity. But it likely didn't bonk him.